Hi, Eugene. Hello. See who's gonna join me today. It's been a minute. Been a minute. I'm still taking some time away because the past few weeks have been a bit much for me, and I think y'all know why. They've been a bit much for me. Yeah. Interestingly enough, the individuals who violated my privacy actually filed a copyright claim against me, but to no avail, thankfully. It was protected under the fair use exception. But that's not why I'm here today. That's not why I'm coming to you today. I'm coming to you today because, I've been watching a couple of Kendra G's episodes, and I'm going to talk about some of that maybe on another day. But I watched this one a couple of days ago where this man called in. I don't know if he was joking or what, but he was talking about, how she goes through her iteration. She asks you, what you're looking for, if you have any kids. And this joker said, yeah, I have kids. And she said, how many? He said 6. So he started going down the line of the ages of these kids. And I can't remember, but the oldest one, it was 9. The youngest one, I think, was 10 months. Then you had one that was a year and a half. So that's how close they were. Okay? And I think he said by 4 different women. So, and his his appearance notwithstanding, because you can't judge a book by its cover. But again, gold teeth have never been my thing. Okay, gold teeth have never been my thing. So at one point she asked, so that means you had 2 women pregnant at the same time. All right. He said, well, yeah. So it started me to thinking about something that is so prevalent. And I guess if you want to qualify what what a pookie is, okay, yeah, it should be. If you want to qualify what a pookie is, I would probably say he's one of them. However, he did mention, of course, you don't know if it's true, but he mentioned how that the majority of the time his kids are with him. He indicated that he has a moving company doing quite well, but his kids are with him. Who knows if that's true or not? But here's the thing that's interesting to me. Why would you women, knowing that this individual, let's say, okay, let's get past the first 2. But by the time he had the 3rd child, and here's the thing, when he talked about what the baby mamas, if you will, none of them were in terms of endearment. I'll just put it to you like that. None of them. Basically, he called them stupid, for lack of a better phrase. He said, that's on them. And guess what, ladies? It is. It is. It is on you. What makes you think? Please hit the like button on the way in or out. What makes you think? Like I said, let's get past the 2. Okay, we'll give grace on 2 children by 2 different women. We'll give grace on that. But by the time you got to the 3rd and the 4th, what makes you think it would be different with you? I'm curious. And here, check this out. It don't necessarily have to be a pookie. It could be a high value man. Well, how do you know that, Terry? A high value man wouldn't do that. I'm calling my name because everybody they done told you my name. So how would you know that? Hey, Lady C. Well, because I dated a high value man in my youth. He was the first guy I dated after I had my daughter. And I say high value because at the time we were both young, but he had one child, he had a son, and I had a daughter. okay? Pilot. He was Air Force pilot. We dated off and on for years. And during that time period, of the time that we dated off and on, he ultimately went on to have 5 more children. 5. 5 more children. I still have my one. Hey, Sorrel, I still have my one. So let me count it. 5, so he had the one when I met him. And okay, so then 2 more with her. By 4 different women. I think, yeah, I'm counting. Now, here's the thing. I really believed that I loved him. I really did. And this was after knowing when we were together when he just had the one child. And going through what I never wanted to feel like that a man would go from that time, me having her to 5, me having his kid didn't keep him, so why would I think that having another kid would keep him? So I did not want the individual to feel that I tried to trap him into being with me by having his baby, because I already knew that wasn't enough. I already knew it wasn't enough. So what boggles my mind, why would you women continue to have a child by someone who is obviously shown signs of being non-committal? Not to say not committal to his children, because the individual for whom I speak, very committed to his children. Very. So here I am. Let me turn this down. So not a one of those women that he had these kids with did he end up with. Not a one. So what would I look like being, I guess I'm going to have to hold it, being one of those women? What would I look like? I would be one of those women who loved them, because I'm sure they did, had the child, and for whatever reason we didn't work out and not be together. Because even if any of those women, now I will say this, the last child that he had, he did get married to that person. He did get married to that person. But all of the other children were outside of wedlock. So the last child he had, he did have with his wife. However, one would argue that that person got pregnant because there were already cracks in the foundation of the marriage to begin with. One would argue that. And maybe that person thought by having his child that it would somehow keep them together. My mother said, having a baby is no way to get a man, and it is surely no way to keep one. Just think. Check this out. We already talked about having children in the confines of marriage. I would argue, even in those cases, you want to pay attention to what you're doing. Why do you ask? When I ultimately got married to my daughter's father, he did want to have more children. And I considered it. But I already knew the challenges we had had previously with the one we already had before we got married. So I said, let us be a family for at least 3 years before, just the 3 of us be a family for 3 years before we bring another child into it. Because that way we can solidify ourselves as a couple in raising the child that we've already had together. If I just would have succumbed and just got pregnant out the gate, to my chagrin, I still would have been by myself instead with two kids.